I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 11th, 2016. With the wail of a siren at 11 o'clock this morning Israel time, the country continued to mark Memorial Day, Yom HaZikaron, which began last evening. This afternoon, the official state commemoration ceremony took place at Jerusalem's Mount Herzl, where IDF Chief of Staff Gadi Eisenkot paid tribute to the families of the 23,447 fallen men and women who have died in uniform or as victims of terror attacks since 1860 until today. Eisenkot, in a statement released prior to the ceremony, said, "We'll remember and we'll mourn the brilliance of youth and stand beside families who carry the memories of their loved ones and suffer unimaginable longing for them every day of the year." Eisenkot was joined at the ceremony by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli President Reuven Rivlin, among others. Tonight, a torchlighting ceremony took place at Mount Herzl, marking the end of Memorial Day and the transition into the celebration of Israel's 68th Independence Day. An IDF officer was seriously injured last night in the West Bank. He was part of a group of soldiers who were approaching a security checkpoint outside of the Arab village of Chizmeh when 4 improvised explosive devices planted earlier along the road were detonated. The wounded soldier was evacuated to Hadassah Hospital in Ein Kerem. IDF sappers who were called to the area discovered another 5 unexploded pipe bombs in the area that were removed and disarmed. The Army is investigating the incident. The soldier remains in serious but not life-threatening condition. 3 Israeli Arabs from northern Israel who were planning to attack Israeli citizens in Jerusalem were charged in 2 separate indictments filed today. The men are said to have intended to carry out a stabbing attack at the Damascus Gate in Jerusalem's Old City. All 3 are residents of Jadi Makaber in the Western Galilee and were indicted on charges of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit a crime, accessory to attempted murder, and several weapons offenses at the Haifa District Court. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls said he will visit Israel next weekend to try and promote an international peace summit. Valls is set to arrive in the country on May the 21st. He will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as with Israeli President Reuven Rivlin and former President Shimon Peres, and will then later travel on May the 24th to Ramallah to meet with Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah. On May the 30th, ministers from 20 countries will gather in France for preparatory meetings for the proposed summit, which is aimed at restarting peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Israel has expressed opposition to the French initiative, maintaining that meaningful negotiations can only take place directly between the 2 sides and not through international forums. Romania has passed legislation to speed up resolving property claims from Holocaust victims in the country. The World Jewish Restitution Organization, or WRJO, said it had negotiated with the Romanian government to expedite over 40,000 claims that were filed up until 2003 that have yet to have been dealt with. Chairman of Operations of the WRJO, Gidon Taylor, said this law acknowledges the urgent needs of Romanian Holocaust survivors who have waited too long to have their property claims resolved. Taylor said, "We look forward to working with the Romanian government to ensure swift implementation of this legislation." Similar legislation has been passed over the last few months by Serbia and Latvia. Police in Manchester, England, are looking into whether a fire set at a kosher restaurant in the city was intentionally anti-Semitic. The Glad Kosher Ta'am restaurant in Prestwich was set alight by 2 unidentified men Friday night, according to the Manchester Evening News. There was some damage, but no one was injured in the arson. The owners of Ta'am said they did not think the attack was motivated by anti-Semitism, but did not know. No evidence of such motivation has been found as of yet. Anti-Semitic comedian Dudone Mabala will not be performing in Montreal this month. Border Services agents in the city sent the comic back to France yesterday As we reported to you last month, Jewish groups, including B'nai B'rith Canada, had been doing their best to keep Mabala out of Canada and prevent him from performing in the 10 sold-out Montreal shows. The comic has been convicted in France and Belgium for hate speech and Holocaust denial. David Willett of the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs said it would seem that the Canadian Border Services Agency made the right decision today. He said through his incitement to violence, glorification of terrorism, and anti-Semitic vitriol, he was clearly not admissible to Canada. Montreal Mayor Denis Coderre had also said publicly that Dieudonné was not welcome. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, May the 11th, our special programming continues here, marking Israel's Memorial and Independence Days, including at 7 o'clock a look at why there is no two-state solution. At 8, the 1948 War of Independence is discussed with Israeli historian and professor Benny Morris. At 9 p.m. we'll air a L'chaim classic as Mark Golub sits down with veteran Israeli diplomat, the late Abba Eben. And at 10 o'clock, McGill professor and historian Gil Troy talks about a new Zionism. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, Pastor John Hagee talks about Israel from the 2007 AIPAC National Policy Conference. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 11th, 2016. Wishing the State of Israel and the Jewish world a happy Yom HaAtzmaut on the 68th anniversary of the establishment of the State of Israel. Chag Sameach. I'm Teisha Bader.